A paramedic and a nurse who aren't normally helping others during emergencies ended up the victims after a fire destroyed 2 homes in Rockford this weekend.
24-Hour News 8's Sarah Hurwitz spoke with the paramedic whose home first caught on fire, who told her how his close friends tried jumping in to save his house. Sarah?
Well, he's normally responding to calls, but this time the call was to his house. This is what's left of Rich Kaiser's home, the charred remains of that fire that all started with the cigarette canister outside his house.
The flames towered over the trees.
Rockford Liner 41's around 2044.
As first responders battled the fire Saturday night on Oak Street, Rockford ambulance paramedic Rich Kaiser got a text.
What's your address? I'm like 138 Oak Street. And my very next thing was going to be like, something happened in the neighborhood.
The fireball was his house. His niece, her husband, and their baby who lived there were the only ones home.
My concern right away was like the family that lives with me.
But luckily, they made it out okay. He says his niece's husband spotted a flicker outside the basement window. It was a cigarette butt in a canister outside. And before he could grab a hose to put it out, the fire grew out of control and caught the house next door on fire, which happens to be the home of a nurse.
We're always in a position to deal with other people's problems. Sometimes you don't realize that we have our own weaknesses and, have to step up and utilize those resources.
The blackened remains of his house are a scene that Kaiser knows all too well, responding to hundreds of fire calls in his 16 years as a paramedic with Rockford Ambulance. But now that he's the victim in this case, the emotion for him is in what could have been, as he says this was just property.
God's watching over this thing, too. This could have so quickly turned into an injury or a death on this one,
And he says the amount of support has been incredible, not only from the first responder community, but also Rockford as a whole. And we do have links to both of the GoFundMe pages on our website, woodtv.com. Live in Rockford, Sarah Hurwitz, 24-Hour News 8.